Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Sit Down. I'm DJ Sixsmith, hanging out with a woman who needs no introduction, Paris Hilton. How are you, Paris?
Great, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the American meme. Checked it out last night. Really interesting documentary because not only does it go through the whole social media phenomenon, but your life is fully exposed, and I thought it was really cool just how open and honest you were throughout the entire thing. So why was this the right time to do that, and then what was it like putting this thing together?
Well, thank you. I'm so proud of this documentary, and it's #1 on Netflix right now, so I just feel just so proud, and I really felt this was like a very important time to do a film like this about social media and how it's just completely just changed society. It's like flipped the world upside down, and just all the characters in the film just have these really interesting life stories, and just how social media, you know, it seems like you have the perfect life, but a lot of people actually are lonely and go through a lot of things. So this movie, it makes you laugh, it makes you cry. It's just, you have so many emotions when you watch it. And when they asked me to be a part of it, they said, Paris, we're doing a movie on social media. You're the OG, like the godmother of this. We can't do this movie without you.
No, definitely not.
So I'm really happy that I made that decision.
Yeah, you should be. And I think it's interesting because when you were first starting to do this, there wasn't a playbook, there wasn't a blueprint. You were just running through these things at age 15, and now people have the benefit at looking at your career, not only from a social perspective, but from a business perspective. So what were some of the toughest things when you were just fully entering this world for the first time as this 15-year-old socialite, you know, mixing up with A-listers all around the world?
Well, moving to New York at 15, I was very young, and I was very sheltered living in Los Angeles. I'd never been to a party or a club.
Never worn makeup before? Yeah.
Never wore makeup. Like my parents were very strict.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to New York, it was like all of a sudden my sister and I were 21 basically, but we were teenagers and getting invited to every event, and then became the Hilton sisters and started this whole phenomenon and basically created a new celebrity genre.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think it's interesting because, you know, for your whole life you've had the Hilton family tag, and for some people they look at that and they say that's great, but there's also this pressure, this burden that comes with that. And like you said in the doc, like you wanted to blaze your own trail. So how difficult was it dealing with that at such a young age? And even now in your 30s, how do you still manage that when your family's done stuff, your mom has done stuff, but you just want to be your own person with your own story?
Well, it's amazing to grow up in my family. My father and my grandfather have always been my mentors, and I've always looked up to them as businessmen. So I learned so much from them, and I always wanted to make them proud. And I always also wanted to make a name for myself and just be known as Paris and not just the Hilton Hotel granddaughter. So it makes me feel so proud that I have made my family so proud of me. My grandfather told me that I travel more and work harder than any CEO he knows. And he's just so proud of the legacy that I've created on my own.
I don't know how you do it. I mean, you travel over 200 days a year, you're DJing, you're doing business stuff. I mean, how do you find life balance?
I just don't stop. Success is something that really drives me in life. I love what I do. I feel so blessed, and I get to do what I love. I get to design amazing products. I get to DJ and entertain my fans all around the world, playing in front of thousands of people, doing shows everywhere, and just being a boss babe. I love it.
Yeah, you're certainly doing that. So the Little Hiltons thing, like when did that first become a thing?
I don't know how many years ago it was, but one of my Little Hiltons, Kayla, made up the word Little Hiltons, and now it's stuck, and they're just like my family, like my little brothers and sisters.
I mean, it's people all around the world. It's pretty wild when you think about it.
An amazing fan base. I love them so much.
And I thought an interesting point in the documentary that you made is that your ability to connect with your fans can be almost better than people in real life. And trust is a big thing that people don't talk about enough in celebrity circles, because you don't know people just want to talk to you for you, if people want to get involved with business. So how do you deal with that on a day-to-day basis, just in terms of trusting people and like having real relationships with people?
I've grown up in this industry for so long, so I've seen it all, and especially in Hollywood, a lot of people don't have the right intentions and they just want to use you and be friends with you for certain reasons that are not good reasons. But over the years, I've learned how to see if that person is a trustworthy person or not. But No, I do not trust a lot of people. I have a very small group of people that I trust.
Yeah, I don't blame you. There's a lot of BS out there, and cutting through the BS is not an easy thing, especially for somebody like you. Like, you already got a ton going on. Trying to discern somebody's intentions, like, there's just another thing you have to add in there. So you really have to have that inner group of people that you can trust.
It's very true.
So you've mentioned in the past that Marilyn Monroe is somebody that you looked up to. When I look at her, I see her body of work, but what was it about her that really inspired you from a young age?
Since I was a little girl, I just loved all her photos and how confident and beautiful she was, and she was just always my icon forever, and she always will be.
Yeah, certainly a good person to look up to.
Yes.
So we're here in New York City. Obviously, you spend a lot of time here, Los Angeles. When you think about New York, what are some of the places you like to hit up when you're in town?
I love New York. I was born here. It's one of the greatest cities in the world. My favorite places to go, I love Tao for dinner. I love going to One Oak, Marquee. I love going shopping at Bergdorf's. And I love going to the Plaza Hotel and having lunch. And just spending time with my sister. We both live downtown, so it's fun just to walk around and go to the art galleries and go to Cipriani's and have lunch, and it's just a wonderful place.
You hit a little milkshake action too before you got here?
Yes, I just had 2 milkshakes.
2 milkshakes?
Yes.
You gotta enjoy
like
yourself,
a cotton
right?
candy one and one that was like a cake one.
Yeah.
What is this place
Black
called?
Tap, yeah.
Yeah.
That place is insane.
It was cool. I love the art all over the walls.
Yeah.
Really cool graffiti.
Definitely. So you mentioned your sister. I mean, she was running with you for a long time. When you look at her life right now, do you see a life where you settle down and you're not running as fast as you are right now?
I'm always going to be running my empire. I'm always going to be a businesswoman, but I would love one day to have a family. Just seeing my sister and her 2 daughters, they're just such angels and so beautiful, and I'm just thrilled for her. So one day I would love to have that.
So what's Aunt Paris like then?
I spoil them. Like, I come with so many presents, and I love just buying little cute outfits for them and any cute toy that comes out. And Lily Grace loves Peppa the Pig. So anytime I see anything with that little piggy, I get it for her because she is obsessed.
That's awesome. So you've always had this business mind based on your own experience, your family's experience. So how did you think to yourself and parlay your reality TV career, movies, etc., into this empire, this billion-dollar empire of fragrances and perfumes and sunglasses? How does that process first begin for you?
When I was a teenager, I always knew I wanted to build a brand, and that's when I started developing my first fragrance. And then after the success of The Simple Life, I realized I could parlay this into a huge business. So I started doing my first brand, which was my perfume. And then from there, now I have 19 different product lines.
Wow.
I make everything from handbags, clothing, lingerie, shoes, sunglasses, makeup. I just launched my new Paris Hilton Pro DNA skincare line. I basically make every type of product you can imagine.
You really don't stop.
I don't stop.
And I think one of the important things about your life too is that you're forward thinking, and so you see the impact that social media can have. But I'm thinking while I'm watching this documentary, like, imagine if you had Instagram at 15 years old. Like, do you think to yourself what life would have been like at that point with all the social media now?
Oh my goodness. I'm so happy that I grew up in a time when we didn't have that, because I think, kids at that age, you're so like young and you haven't really been through life, and my Instagram probably would have been just lit, just like the craziest
Maybe a little
parties.
bit too lit.
Yeah, so I'm happy I didn't have it back then. And it was so much more fun going out back then. Like, now everyone is just on their phone.
Or taking
everyone's
pictures.
Snapping, everyone's editing a photo, posting. So no one is really looking at each other, no one's dancing in the club. It's completely different. So I don't really go out like I used to. Now if I'm out, I'm there for work. I'm DJing.
It's a much different situation.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I feel you on that, because like, just kids who grew up with phones in their hands, like, they just aren't able to have conversations looking people in the eye. Like, it's a totally different experience. Whereas like, I'm 25, I got my first phone in middle school, Facebook comes out, I get in high school. It's a much different experience, and same for you. Like, you didn't grow up just tethered to the phone. Whereas now, like, it's awesome that people can have their own business and make money from it, but I don't know, I just feel like it's a totally different social exchange,
It's changed everything about relationships, everything you can imagine, because people can, hide behind their phone.
Right.
So it makes people like shy when they actually are in real life with people.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. And then when people are real on social media, like even in your documentary where people are saying they're struggling with depression, they're hurting, like that is just magnified because we usually just see all the good stuff. And then like, you know, this Pete Davidson situation, you know, you see something from him where it's like, you're not feeling good, that really puts people on alert. So I think whether it's your doc or people on social, when they're honest, like people can really connect to that. So how hard was it for you to not only use your business to impact yourself, but just to impact other people?
I always love being an inspiration to people, that if you follow your dreams and you work hard and you have hard work ethic, that anything is possible. So I like to be an inspiration to people in that way. And with social media, I think it's an amazing tool if you use it in the right way.
Yeah, that's the key. So obviously a lot of people look to you for life advice, career advice, but who are some of the people that you look to and say, that's a businessman or woman that is really doing great things? Like, who inspires you today?
I'm inspired by my grandfather, my father, of course. They've always been my business mentors since I was a little girl. And I love Oprah. I think she's
doing
a legend.
Big. Yeah.
And I really love Victoria Beckham and what she's done with her brand. Her clothing line is just, she always looks so chic, and she's an amazing businesswoman.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, how about your mom? Because in the documentary, like, you're looking at old pictures of your mom, you know, when Andy Warhol's in the picture. Like, how crazy is it for you to think about where your mom was in her life and her career, and then now what you're doing?
It's amazing. Actually, I met Andy Warhol when I was little. My mom, they used to have parties at Studio 54, and then they would have parties back at the Waldorf. And Andy and everyone would come over, and she said I used to sit on his lap and I would draw with him. And he said to her, this girl is going to be a huge star one day. And he said that when I was literally 2.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. So another part of the doc, you mentioned how you've kind of been living this 21-year-old life for a really long time. Do you find yourself making the transition into more of an adult life, or is it kind of pulling you back and forth? How do you deal with that?
I definitely have grown up a lot. I'll always be a kid at heart. That's just how I am.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
But I've been through so much in life, and I now feel like I'm finally an adult.
And I think you have to go through those lows to really find out who you are, right? Because life's not easy. And when you're growing up in front of paparazzi and cameras at 15 to where you are now, like, that's a whole different layer that most people can't even connect to. So the fact that you went through that stuff, you know, that's life. But I think it's cool that you're figuring out what's important to you, who you want to be, and just being solid in that, because that's not an easy thing for anybody.
It's not, but I've made it through.
That's awesome. So when people check out the documentary, what do you want them to walk away thinking, Paris?
I just really want people just to really learn a lot from it about social media, just its effects on people, and just that life isn't as perfect as people think. So I think it's important for people to relate to that and see that everyone has the same struggles, everyone goes through the same thing. And just, I don't know, there's just so many questions. Like, I've seen the film like 6 times now, and every time I watch it, I just learn more, and it just touches me in such a way. And I think people are really gonna get to know the real me, because my story has never really been told by me. It's been told by the media,
right,
you know, for the past 2 decades of them inventing stories, embellishing things, changing things around, and no one ever really got my side of it. So I just wanted to be as open and honest as possible.
What's the biggest misconception about you?
I think the biggest misconception is that I'm a dumb blonde. I think if people don't know me and they've seen The Simple Life, they're going to assume that that's really who I am in real life, but
it's not the truth.
No, I invented that character. I was being entertaining for a TV show. I didn't realize it would be such a huge success, and to go on for 5 years, I had to continue being this character. And I am a naturally shy person, so sometimes I like slip back into it, and my voice gets really high, and I don't know. But when I'm normal and I'm talking my normal voice, people get kind of surprised, because it's much lower than on TV.
Well, it's a pleasure getting to know the real you, and I think people
you.
will really enjoy it. You guys can check out The American Meme on Netflix. Thanks so much for tuning into The Sit Down. We'll see you next time.